I awoke, or I thought I did, and saw a man. He stood in front of me, wearing a dark, crisp suit, with black shoes and a gray tie. Smirking, he looked down at me. He stared at me, into me, and for a moment, I felt anxious. Then I realized I must not have woken up because he was definitely Lucent Storme, and why would he be in the library? Or for that matter, why was I dreaming of Lucent Storme? A nightmare, probably. Some dismal addition to my dream world meant to scare me awake. I'd find myself in a cold sweat upon returning to reality. Was it snowing outside still? Lazily, I turned to peer out one of the windows, ignoring the dream man in front of me. Why I looked out a dream window, I didn't know. But yes, it was still snowing. The snow reached halfway up the windows now, and showed no signs of stopping. The man in front of me cleared his throat.
"Hello," he said. "Am I interrupting your nap?"
I yawned and stretched my arms above my head. My book rested against my chest, pushing into my breasts as I arched my back. When I brought my hands down, the book ended up resting just beneath my breasts, holding them up and putting on a show. What did I care, though? I was dreaming.
"Quiet little one, are you?"
Lucent stared at my breasts. This, I thought, was how I should know he wasn't real.
"What if I were looking for a book?"
"I hardly think it necessary," I said, yawning once more, "to deal with figments of my imagination."
"Is that what I am?"
he asked, raising one brow.
"I dare say this is news to me."
"I'm dreaming," I added. "I fell asleep in the library, and I'm sure it's time to leave soon."
"Yes, well, don't count on that," he said. "I was trying to leave too, except there's no way out. The subway system is shut down, my car snowed in at the garage, and the taxi company laughed at me when I called for a cab. I would have stayed where I was, but the damnable building has an automatic power shut off for the weekends, and I don't relish walking around in a dark office for the evening."
"What?" I asked, sleep drifting away from me. Now that I thought about it, I didn't really feel like I was asleep. And while mostly clean, this man's suit had a few telltale signs of an outdoor snow adventure. Damp, disheveled hair, too. Tousled and handsome. Close-cropped. Lucent stared at me, eyes glimmering with some devilish recognition. What did he see in me? And why? And, "Oh my God," I said. "You're Lucent Storme."
"A pleasure,"
he said, offering me a curt bow.
"And you are?"
"What are you doing here?"
"I just told you."
"I don't understand. My brain overloaded, forgetting how to function."
"We're surrounded by storefronts and office buildings that, if you hadn't noticed, shut down for the day hours ago. This was the only and nearest place with a light on, and the door was open. There's nowhere else."
"We're trapped?" I asked.
He nodded. "Quite."
"You're Lucent Storme," I muttered again. I realized then that I was sitting on a beanbag in the children's section of the library, a book beneath my breasts, propping them up for prime viewing pleasure. I jumped up and away from him, bouncing to my feet, pulling my skirt back down to my knees from its previous lascivious spot hiked high up on my thigh. I tried to present myself with some appropriate appearance. Lucent merely smirked at me.
"You know who I am. But who, might I ask, are you?"
"Elise," I murmured, affectedly shy all of a sudden. "Elise Tanner."
"A pleasure, Miss Tanner," he said, holding out his hand.
I took it, thinking he meant to shake my hand by way of introduction, but instead, he grasped my fingertips and brought the back of my hand to his lips, kissing me lightly. I froze, staring at him in shock. His hand felt so warm and soft, almost sharp, like I shouldn't touch it for fear of hurting myself. And his kiss on the back of my hand sent a sting running through my skin. A jolt, like a static electric shock, which it probably was, I told myself. Calm down, Elise. The carpets in the library were thick, and anyone walking through them could inadvertently shock someone if they dragged their feet just a little bit. This made perfect sense, except for the fact that Lucent wore shoes, which no doubt had rubber soles. I pulled my hand away fast, as if he were the burner atop a stove and I'd touched him while hot. While he was hot? Or I was hot? Was I hot? He was staring at my breasts, but I thought he was a dream, so did that count? What the hell? I didn't even want him to think I was hot. This wasn't about that. Ugh, snap out of it, Elise. In all honesty, I didn't like Lucent Storme, and this was my first time meeting him, but I doubted that'd change much. So, I said, we're stuck here, I guess. Yes, Lucent said. It seems so. You work here, I assume? I nodded. I'm the only one here right now. He grinned. What was that look in his eyes? I remembered the rumors of a darker sexuality, but no, that wasn't true. Was it? Would he force himself on me right here and now? What could I do if he did? We were trapped in a library, snow surrounding us, isolated and alone, together. Give me a tour, he said. I've never been here, but I like the looks of it. What? I stammered. You work here, don't you? Give me a tour. I'm not a tour guide, I said, meek. And? I don't give tours. I'm a librarian. I work at the front counter and help people find books. Then let's pretend I've asked for every book, and you're going to show them to me, he said. Except skip the part about the books and give me a tour. Are you always this demanding? I asked, the words slipping out of my mouth, surprising me. You have no idea, he said with a smirk.